Good morning, YouTube. Today I was working on my man room. I have a man room in my house.
You do have a man room.
And it was a wonderful birthday gift from April, my parents. They went in together on this beautiful X-ray of a 300 SL Gullwing that I just hung above the television in the man room.
It's really cool. It's actually this guy that he X-rays a lot of things. He has a huge X-ray machine in a warehouse over the pond over there somewhere in Europe, and he X-rays cars for art.
A huge garage-size X-ray to be able to do full scans of cars where it's like a real-life cutaway of, like, they say someone has a broken bone in their arm, only it's a car and you see the X-ray of it. It's beautiful.
It's really cool. And I saw the Gullwing, and I know it's your favorite car, and it's got the cool tubular chassis.
It's my ultimate dream car.
Right. I thought, like, of course, that'd be cool to have an X-ray of that. And then you hang it over your TV in the room, which is such a dude thing to do.
It looks great over the TV. It's the exact same size as the TV, same color. It looks perfect in there with my man room. But yes, my ultimate dream car is the 300 SL Gullwing. And first time I saw one was at Barrett-Jackson in 2004. The first year I went, there were 2 Gullwings selling.
Right.
And one sold for, I think it was like the third or fourth or second or third highest selling cars of the day. And it was like $150 and $175 for these 2 Gullwings. And I thought, man, one day if I work really, really hard, I can buy one of these Gullwings. That'd be amazing. Well, every time I've come within reach of, like, maybe I can do this, it's just a little bit further away.
The price.
The price just keeps getting farther and farther away from me. And January, we've been working for Barrett-Jackson for a couple of years now. They had the Gullwing as their showcase, feature car. At the gala, they had it up high in the air, just like it was almost flying itself, the Gullwing and all that stuff. Their marketing was incredible on it, and they set a record for a non-alloy body, non-aluminum engine, I believe, Gullwing that's just a perfect restoration. Sold for $3 million.
Stunning restoration.
Very cool, but I thought, once again, because before that, it was, low $1 million to high $1 million, $2 million for the best restoration. So I thought, here it goes, again, moving away from me.
Yes.
To where I can never, ever justify on a little YouTuber's salary buying one.
Right.
So, as I'm hanging this X-ray of my ultimate dream car that I'd never buy, with little, 300 SL models all over, a few years ago to drive with the Millimedia, because they started out as race cars, and Max Hoffman, a Mercedes importer, convinced them to build a street version of it that sold mostly in the United States, but all over the world, and people would race them. They had a Cuba Grand Prix Gullwing a few years prior, which you did a little photo shoot with.
I did.
It's one of my favorite magazines, let me tell you. So yes, April got to do a photo. They didn't ask me to do the photo shoot for the cover of So Scottsdale or whatever it was, right? So that's one of your more recent magazine covers. But so that sold for, I think, $2 million.
Yep.
Yes. So I'm hanging this X-ray.
Yes.
And then watching Ed Bullion's video today.
Oh no.
Of him narrowing down my search for my dream car to buy a Bugatti Veyron. And it looks like he is pulling the trigger on a Veyron. Doug DeMuro, ultimate dream car, Carrera GT, chased him, photographed him on the street, all these big stories, all that stuff. Bought his Carrera GT a few years ago when he sold his cars and bids to the private equity people for a lot of money. And so he's doing great and bought his car, dream car. Ed with his shrewd negotiating and leveling up all of his cars and selling things, and he's able to do, he's within grasp of getting a Veyron, which is incredible.
Right.
And Stradman even recently, years and years ago, like 8+ years ago, he made a video where he helped somebody start his Koenigsegg Agera with his Audi TT that he was living out of, that one day he was actually stranded in, had to live in a McDonald's parking lot because a major part of it went out. He was that broke. And that same Koenigsegg that he jumped off, he was able to buy last year.
Amazing. That's incredible.
All from YouTube.
That's
obviously.
The American dream.
All of this is from YouTube. I guess in that case it's YouTube and just ripping off people with supercars, but all from YouTube money. And it just makes me wonder, should I do it? But I could have done it, because you add up all the costs on this stupid farm property.
Yeah.
I should have just bought a hangar on a runway, and then I could have got a Gullwing or a Veyron or a Carrera GT, but no, I had to buy a stupid old farmhouse from the 1800s and do all this stupid home improvement crap, which I really have not enjoyed. It's been a miserable thing.
Poor you.
It's a beautiful home and a beautiful property to fill with cars, but I've had to sell a bunch of cars to make it happen, and it's been a very frustrating, annoying, and just financially crippling process. But the thing is, it's almost done.
Right.
And I'm able to get a new mortgage because it is done.
Right.
And I can get a new mortgage for up to 80% of the value of the house.
Right.
So I bought the house for $850. I put 20% down, so I think that's like $670,000. It's been appraised for 1.5 now, even though I have 1.8 into it. But
Right.
670, 1.5, 80% is 1.2 million. So there's about, you can see, there is an amount of money that I could take out to have a very juicy, nice down payment on a 300 SL Gullwing. And the question is,
girl math in there?
no, it's just, I'm just saying that it is financially possible for me in a couple of weeks to, instead of having the financial security again that I enjoyed for a couple of years, and pay down all of my debt and, or not take out such a big mortgage and keep things manageable.
Right.
I could do it. I could go buy my ultimate dream car by doing what Stradman and a lot of other people do, and it is basically a luxury lease where it kind of makes sense. So I can put 15-20% down on a exotic car.
Right.
Right off the down payment, just like you would any lease. Because obviously, if I do get a 300 SL Gullwing, I'll make a bunch of videos about it.
Right.
All these things. It'll be a big benefit for my channel. It's very easy to justify it as a business expense for the business of YouTube. So those payments and that down payment could be written off to where the interest and all that stuff, even though, because it'd be like 9-10% interest, it would make sense.
Right.
Now, you got your ultimate dream car.
I know.
The Grand Camino.
The Grand Camino.
Why not me? So
you can drive the Grand Camino.
it'd be, several $100,000 down, and then a $10,000 a month payment for me to have my ultimate dream car. And yeah.
What do you think?
Well,
Because there's a couple coming through some auctions.
I be shopping. Yeah. So I think thanks to Barrett Jackson and that record for a non-alloy Gullwing.
Yeah.
I think it's brought a lot of people out of the woodwork. So there's a lot of Gullwings for sale. There's 5 so far crossing the block at the auctions in Monterey.
Now, is that the right way to go, though? Or a private seller with Ed as your crude negotiator?
No. So, like a no-reserve auction,
I said crude, I meant shrewd. Sorry, Ed.
Right. A no-reserve auction like Barrett Jackson.
Yeah.
You go there and if you're the top dog, you're going to get it for a certain amount. And they're not, since they're no reserve, it's whoever's in the room, they're not going to shill it up. They're not going to have fake bids. So a lot of these other auctions where they have a reserve, you could be bidding up against a ghost.
Sure.
Because they're trying to get you up to the seller's reserve. And I made a video on this, talking about it one time in a previous auction thing, and I got banned from the auction for talking about it. I had to take the video down. So I'm not going to say who that was, but just talking about the reality of auctions and giving a little, insider tips and tricks, people didn't like that.
Right.
So, but yes, if there is a reserve, you look in the room and you see who you're bidding against. It could be like a fake person on the phone. Sure. You really don't know if you're getting bid up to the reserve or not. So like at Barrett Jackson, you could get an amazing deal because they're all no reserve cars. Yeah. But at least you're in the room, you're competing with someone. You're not competing against seller's expectations. Sure. And then on top of that, say the seller wants at least 1.2 for their Gullwing. Well, for them to get 1.2, the car needs to sell for 10% more than that because it's so that needs to be like 1.3.5 or 4. And that means you're bidding 1.4, but then there's the 10% fee above that, so then it's 1.55 is what you actually end up paying. And then in the middle, there's 20% of fees that the auction house makes.
A lot of fees.
So that's a lot. If you can find someone to actually sell you the car directly and say, okay, well, let's meet in the middle, because obviously if I was auctioning, it'd be these fees, it'd be great. But nobody's willing to do that because I think that recent sale of the big Gullwing, they're like, I'm going to try my luck at the auction and see if lightning continues to strike.
Exactly.
And so there's 5.
Well, do you feel like their value is the highest where it's at?
That's the
on
thing.
These Gullwings? Because $3 million is a lot.
That is a lot. And this is a car from the 50s. They did make over 1,000 of them. It's not super low production, say like a McLaren F1 or like a Bugatti Veyron's very low production. I think 400 cars or something like that. They made a lot of them, and the Veyron is under its MSRP currently and hasn't had the big run up. The Gullwings at one point were $100,000. They've run up to multi-million dollars. 10, 20, 30 years from now, are people going to care about Gullwings as much as they do today? Probably not. Is this the peak? Is it going to be an appreciating asset that's actually a good investment compared to a Veyron or a Carrera GT? Probably not. The smarter money is probably in a Veyron or a Carrera GT, where I could easily see the Carrera GT going the way of the Ferrari F40, which is an amazing car.
Yes.
Yeah. So the F40 has jumped up. This is the last analog supercar. It could jump up to be like an F40. The Veyron, maybe not like a McLaren F1, but still, it could go up to... I could easily add double in price.
You know, Ed's so good with like numbers and negotiating and business sense, where I feel like if he's looking at Veyron, that there's something to it.
There's definitely something to it. And it could be the next thing that he runs up, because he did that with Lamborghini Murciélagos, where he discovered that the LP640s, how low the production was with the manual transmission, and ran that to the moon, where they were, normal, like didn't sell for much of a premium over the flappy paddle E-gear cars, and ran that from, being a $200,000 car to a $1 million car nowadays. So and that's how he's ran himself up to be able to buy a Veyron. Is market manipulation and things, and YouTube, but But it's not my ultimate dream car. I'd love a Veyron. If behind the 300SL, a Veyron and Carrera GT would be it.
Right.
But the ultimate dream car is the 300SL.
Yes.
So the 5 for sale. First one, classic silver.
Beautiful.
On red. It has the picnic basket. The summer seats in there. But this one is a recent restoration that's been freshened up by Canepa.
Okay.
Which is a big outfitter. Actually, our friend John Ficara used to work for them, made several Vinwiki videos about them, like the first Duesenberg. I talked about restoring it at Canepa. Great video if you want to check that out. So it's gonna be out of my league. It's gonna be too much, because I need to have like a 15-20% down, and if this is $2 million, then that's 500.
Well, and this one is a 57. Are there big differences between 55 and 57? Would you say?
Honestly, I don't know all the year-to-year differentiation on that stuff, but I don't think there's much with the Gullwing. Still the tubular chassis. Obviously, the big design changes with the Roadster. Roadsters are quite a bit cheaper and more common.
Right.
I thought I'd be happy with the Roadster, but no, I gotta get the Gullwing. So this one probably out of my league. Even more out of my league is probably this green one, because I think it's the only one in this factory color. Once again, a beautiful
that's a factory color.
Yeah, beautiful fresh restoration from the Indianapolis Speedway Museum. They had this car in their collection from like the 70s.
That's cool.
It's like one of their founding vehicles that they bought, and then they restored it recently within the last 5-10 years. So yeah,
that's beautiful.
Big deal. Cool. It's going to be a lot of money.
Someone took care of that for a long time. Very good care.
There's one mystery car that's at Gooding. They don't have information on it yet. It's from the Thomas Larson collection, and it looks like it has its original interior, but I'm not sure. As far as what I need is like an older restoration, maybe one that's not the original paint, or definitely one that's not the original paint, but say one that somebody did a color change on, the original interior. This one, it has AC, which is aftermarket add-on, but looks like old weathered seats on the inside, maybe original, but you can see the engine bay looks really fresh and cherry and nice. So I'd say this is an older restoration or something. It's probably too nice for me. So there's 2 contenders. Right. There's 2 real contenders for me if I'm a complete moron and do this, because like I said, have some financial security again, or not. Mortgage my house to full-blown crazy, and then go into more debt where I'd have even more than my mortgage payment would be a lease on a Gullwing. Or not. This one...
therapist that comes with the Gullwing.
This one at Broad Arrow, their estimate is 1.5 to 1.8. It is an older restoration. Beautiful. It is dark blue.
Beautiful.
With gray interior. But it's older restoration, showing some outward wear, little dings and chips and things, which is how I would want it, because I would want to actually use the car, even though it's over $1 million. It's how I'd actually...
Did you change the wheels, or do you like the knockoffs?
The knockoffs were added. This didn't come from the factory with it, but the knockoffs are what you want, so you just leave it alone like that. But yes, dark blue I think is an unusual color. I don't know if it's the original color, but that doesn't matter. So just a nice older restoration, one you can use. and enjoy and not have to worry about, oh no, a little scratch in there, the kid jumping around in the interior. It's perfect. But yeah, engine bay, very, very
Right.
clean, very nice. The other one though, this one's an RM.
Mm-hmm.
It's had one repaint, and it's
Right.
been just kept in running driving condition otherwise. But it had one repaint probably in the 60s and 70s. White with red interior.
Yes.
It has little bit of rust, some
Just a
dents, some
little
dings,
hoopty.
some chips, some scratches. White with the red. And I am absolutely in love. Look
She's
at that
gorgeous.
patina.
She's
Yeah, original
gorgeous.
interior,
Mm-hmm.
patina in the engine bay. There's chipping paint on the hood, on the Gullwing doors, spider web cracking, crazed like back in the 60s and 70s when this was repainted. It was a sub $5,000 car, which was even a lot for the 60s, but still not, house.
Right. So if this had its original paint that was just totally jacked up even worse, do you think it would be worth more?
It would be worth more.
Mm-hmm.
But since it's had a repaint,
Mm-hmm.
it puts it in possibility for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it has, actually the repaint has gone onto the rubber and the trim a little bit. So
Yeah.
like it wasn't a very graceful repaint. They didn't even take the windows out. So it has probably the original like door and window seals and stuff.
Would you restore this, or is it
No.
something that you would keep as is?
I would leave it as the Hoopty 300 SL as it is. Because I'm obviously going to be the world's poorest 300 SL owner if I do this. By a lot. By a lot.
You'd be eating Taco Bell every day. And rolling through in this.
By a lot. But get it mechanically as good as it can be.
Mm-hmm.
Take it on all the stuff. The Colorado Grand. Take it everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, this is eligible to do anything. And not have to worry about, hitting a raccoon or,
Right.
just
A raccoon. So
whatever.
random.
Just hitting an animal, dinging it.
Right.
This isn't some pristine cream puff. It can be used and enjoyed. And heavily insured, obviously, if something really bad happens. But it'll never be totaled out because it's worth so much. You can't total out a Gullwing because they could rebuild it for less than what its value is.
Oh, absolutely.
So they estimate this one at 1.4 to 1,650,000, which I think I would hope on the lower end of that. I think these estimates can be a little exaggerated. Sometimes they go for a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. Honestly, like this before that big sale,
Right.
I would have said it's probably a 1.2 car.
Right. And now after
But
that.
they're saying it's a little bit more. I don't know. We'll see. With 5 of them selling
Right.
in one place over the span of a few days, that's unusual. You're kind of spoiled for choice. And
Right.
I don't know. Like the problem is I could go out there and bid all these cars. The sellers are going to think, well, they have these high expectations and then
Right.
they're not going to sell them. So I made the trip for nothing.
Right.
But
Do you want to
maybe.
be there in person, or is it something you feel comfortable over the phone? I mean, of course you want to be there in person, but like, is it
Well,
worth it? Because you might not get one of these.
The problem is if you're on the phone, you can't read the room. You don't know if
Right.
you're being run up or not.
Right.
So that's a big problem. And then making this kind of purchase without inspecting the cars in person. I know
Right.
I do this all the time with Hoopties and laugh about it when it gets shipped in, but to not go out there and actually at least see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Ed going to be at this
No,
auction?
I don't know.
Ed,
I don't
we
even know if
need
I
you.
should do this.
We
Like
need you.
it's just like it's peer pressure. It's all the YouTuber peer pressure of all these guys going and buying their ultimate dream car, and I'm just like,
I don't think it's
why
peer
not
pressure
me?
though, because this is your dream car. Wouldn't put that like you're like cheapening this moment for yourself. It's not that. This is your ultimate dream car that you've put in a lot of work to be where you're at, and I feel like you deserve it.
It could be a nightmare, though. It could be something where I've overextended myself, can't afford it, and then I have to sell my dream car, which would be even worse.
That should
So
be a problem.
maybe I should just chill. Maybe I should just chill.
I don't know. What do you think?
Chill.
Let us know.
Thank you so much for watching, and screw you, Ed and Doug, and Stradman.